A slim majority of whites voted against the measure, but get this, 7 out of 10 African Americans, 7 out of 10, voted to support it. Slightly more than half of Latino voters also backed the initiative. Asian Americans opposed it by razor-thin margins. Let's bring in now our guests, George Takei and Brad Altman. They were married in September while California law permitted same-sex marriages. Also joining us, Republican strategist Ron Christie and Democratic strategist Alana Goldman. Thank you so much for joining us. George and Brad, when you heard about Prop 8 passing, what was your response?
Well, I want to correct one thing you said. Our marriage is not in limbo. There is no language in Proposition 8 that says it's retroactive. So our marriage is still valid, and the Attorney General of the state of California, Jerry Brown, has validated that statement.
Thank you for correcting me there. I didn't mean that your love for each other, but no one knows really exactly how this is going to turn out when you ask the legal experts, George. And Brad, I know that you emailed some pictures to us earlier of your marriage, and you had hundreds of people there. No one can take that away from you. But again, is there any concern by you that your marriage may no longer be legal in the state of California?
Well, I want to say that I'm a newlywed right now. George Takei is my husband. We got married in September. We were legally wed. We have a marriage certificate. All the legal maneuvering you're talking about, Don, that's down the road. But right now, I've tasted marriage and it's delicious, and our marriage is going to live long and prosper.
The process by which Proposition 8 came about is being challenged right now. What they want to do is to amend the Constitution by simply going out and gathering signatures, and then a vote of 50% plus 1 does not amend our Constitution. What that requires to amend the state constitution, what's required is 2/3 vote of the Senate and 2/3 vote of the Assembly, both houses of the legislature.
All right, George.
And then it goes to a ballot.
All right, George, hang on just a little bit. I'm going to bring you back in, but I want to bring in some of the folks who will help us with this again. Alana joins us here tonight. Alana, you know, it's interesting. We were talking about this whole thing. We've been talking about minorities supporting a ban on same-sex marriage, and those were the voters who were believed to have put this over the edge, the reason that the proposition was passed. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me. I think, all the history from these kinds of votes have shown that African American community, the Latino community, is a little more conservative on some of these issues. So it's not surprising. And when you had some of these communities turn out in such enormous numbers to support Obama, it's not shocking that when they looked at that ballot, they went the other way.
Are you surprised by this, Ron? Because California, especially Los Angeles, San Francisco, are considered to be pretty liberal cities. Are you surprised that in California that this proposition passed?
Good evening, Don. No, I'm not. I'm a native Californian, and I can tell you that while Californians are traditionally liberal on many social issues, many Californians look at the dignity and sanctity of marriage, and they look at marriage as being between a man and a woman. Civil unions are entirely different, but I understand the voters in California. They've spoken, they've thought about this issue very carefully, and they've decided that a marriage in the state of California should be between a man and a woman, and it has nothing to do with the love of people who are involved in same-sex relationships, but that the people in California believe a marriage should be between a man and a woman.
And I want to, we have to move on now because there are time constraints and we have lots of news to get in, but I was speaking to some of the people on both sides of this issue, and if you can say something just real quickly, George, some of the people from the gay organization said they simply did not have enough money early on to go against a group that was supporting this proposition, and that the group had already defined their mission by saying that this was an issue for children, and so they were fighting against that until they had to fight against that instead of shaping their own message.
Well, the thing about education and taking away the tax exemption of churches is just an extraneous issue. The real issue here is that the Supreme Court of the state of California ruled that it is a fundamental right of all citizens, including gays and lesbians, to have access to equality in marriage. And this fundamental right was taken away by Proposition 8. And that process by which they took it away is being challenged in court, and I'm confident that ultimately we will prevail.